Navigating an airport is much like driving through a highway system, except you are managing lanes and intersections in a vertical space. Every time an aircraft is lifting off, it's following a specific path designed to keep it clear of the ground traffic below. Just as a side street has different requirements than a major interstate, the rules of the runway depend on the size of the facility. To keep things organized, land-based airports are divided into 4 main categories based on how they are used. Take commercial service airports, like the massive hubs you see in this photo. These are publicly owned facilities that handle at least 2,500 passengers a year and host regularly scheduled airlines. The other categories are more specialized. Cargo airports focus on moving heavy freight, reliever airports help reduce congestion at the major hubs, and General Aviation airports, the largest group in the system, cater to private pilots. There is also a 5th group for facilities that don't use traditional runways, such as seaplane bases on the water or heliports designed for vertical takeoff. Identifying an airport's category helps a pilot understand exactly what kind of traffic and infrastructure they will find. It helps them prepare for a busy commercial environment or a quiet private strip before they ever leave the ground. Before a pilot even starts their engine, they go through a routine similar to checking the weather and road closures for a long drive. Their first check is the automated weather broadcast. This is a recorded loop that updates every hour, providing the local wind conditions and telling pilots which specific runways are currently in use. They also check for temporary hazard notices. These provide immediate warnings for things that aren't on a standard map, such as a taxiway closed for construction or a navigational signal that is temporarily out of service. Checking these updates ensures the pilot isn't surprised by a closed runway or a sudden change in wind once they are already in the air. Once a pilot begins moving toward the runway, they have to navigate a series of signs and markings painted directly onto the pavement. On the ground, color is a code. Black signs show your location, while red signs are mandatory stop signs requiring permission to pass. They pair with hold short lines, 2 solid and 2 dashed yellow lines showing exactly where to stop. Stopping at these solid lines protects the runway safety area. This cleared space ensures that taxiing planes stay far enough away to avoid being hit by an aircraft taking off or landing. On the runway itself, you might see these white arrows pointing to a thick white bar. This is a displace threshold. Pilots can use this area to taxi or begin their takeoff, but the arrows indicate that they cannot land in this zone. Treating these painted lines like solid walls is what keeps aircraft from crossing paths in areas where they shouldn't be. While signs guide a pilot on the ground, a specific radio language guides them through the air. At airports with a control tower, a controller manages the traffic flow. At airports without a tower, pilots use a shared radio frequency to announce their location and intentions to anyone else flying nearby. To prevent confusion over the radio, aviation uses a phonetic alphabet. Instead of just saying a letter, pilots use words like Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie to make sure their identifiers are clear through static or background noise. A pilot would use this alphabet to give their exact position, stating their aircraft type and their distance from the field, so that everyone else knows where to look for them. This standardized way of speaking helps every pilot in the area understand exactly where other aircraft are, even when they can't see each other yet. When arriving at an airport without a tower, a pilot looks down at the field to determine the wind direction and the best runway for landing. A windsock is a reliable tool for this. If it's blowing straight out and fluttering, the pilot knows the wind is strong. By watching which way it points, they can choose the runway that allows them to land directly into the wind. Some airports also use a tetrahedron, a large arrow on the ground that points in the direction planes should land and take off. Once the runway is chosen, the pilot joins the traffic pattern. The preferred method is to approach at a 45-degree angle, which allows the pilot to blend smoothly into the flow of other aircraft already circling the field. Following this specific geometry ensures that every arriving aircraft is in a predictable place, which prevents collisions in the sky near the airport. But what happens if a pilot's radio fails while they are trying to land at a busy towered airport? In this case, the pilot watches the control tower for light signals. The tower uses a high-intensity light gun to shine a green or red beam directly at the cockpit to give the pilot instructions. Since the pilot can't talk back, they acknowledge the signal by rocking the airplane's wings during the day or blinking landing lights at night. All of these systems, the signs on the pavement, the radio protocols, and the arrival patterns, work together as a single language. When everyone follows these rules, the airport becomes a predictable and coordinated environment. Learning these basics is what makes the sky a safe place for every pilot. If you enjoyed this look at how airports work, please like and subscribe for more.